When my professors first told me I had to choose between soft rock and hard rock in my undergraduate, I thought they meant something to do with the rheology of the minerals that we would be addressing. In truth, it turns out soft rock geology is called that because our data is nowhere near as hard as I ever thought it would be. My name's Luke. Welcome back to the Cognitive Whiteboard. We're here with Trax International today to talk about some of those potential errors that you need to watch out for in your fields. We'll use an example of a giant field, the first giant discovered in this particular basin, which had been studied enormously by the company operating it. In fact, some of the technologies used in geostatistics were perfected on this particular asset. I was brought in to be part of the peer review team because I was working on the field directly to the south of this asset. And what we had through here is a well-penetrated field, very good production, one dry hole in the south. And when we bring up the typical history match type materials, production rates, pressures, we see a very, very good quality match. Something we should expect given the great minds that have been working on this asset for many years. However, towards the end of the field, this is a 40-year production life, we start to see a problem trying to match the production rate observed in the well data compared to what the simulator is putting out. Now, the mines at the time had recognized that, well, this is a chain of fields and directly to the south is another asset. And they had the assumption that what we needed to do was represent a fluid migration, oil migration being pushed into this field from the south because of over-injection in the northern limb of that particular asset. Problem was, I was working that asset and we were actually planning an injection program in the north of our field because we were unable to maintain the pressure that we needed there. So something didn't feel right to me. I couldn't figure out what it was. But luckily, for me at least, there was a senior geologist that had joined this asset right at the time of the peer review, sitting in to catch up quickly. And looking at the top structure map, he noticed that one anomaly, the one dry hole down here, and asked to see the time depth curve used to achieve the well top tie. Now, this isn't a two-way time check shot. This is just the actual assumed velocity in order to tie the well penetrations. In a mature field like this, very few check shots are being run anymore. And in fact, most of the data from these fields is MWD, LWD data with very little wireline. Looking at that, when all of the rest of the wells are plotting on this red curve through here in terms of velocity, this one deeper well has got an enormously high velocity trend. He recognized that that was wrong. There was no reason to assume that all of the velocities above this particular location should be particularly faster. And in fact, he thought immediately that well must be not in the Horst, but in the Graben. He called for a gyro resurvey of the field with wireline. We ran that, confirming his suspicions. In fact, a whole bunch of the wells moved significantly because of the difference between a gyro survey run on a clean wireline and an MWD positional survey, which can be prone to significant errors. For me, this was kind of a point in my career recognizing that a lot of what we call hard data is really not as hard as we might believe. It's up to us to sleuth that out, to make your way through the ducts and air conditioning to really get to the position of understanding what's more realistic necessarily than just believing everything about the information provided from some of these materials. This is something that we do at Trax International all the time. We help companies really reassess what's going on in their assets, and we do that by having an external perspective. Having seen a lot of these things around the world in different assets, the problem's not unique to this one company, I'll guarantee it. We are able to very quickly identify some of these challenges. If this sounds familiar, if you've found that you've had a solution corporately that doesn't feel right, like adding an oil injector into a simulation model, reach out to us. We can help. Trax International can come along and help either train you to do this correctly or to conduct that peer review for you. If that's of interest, drop us a note and we'll get back to you. But until then, I'll see you back at the Cognitive Whiteboard next time.